Watching Peppa Pig is fascinating for us. But have you noticed that this animation has some mistakes? Today we are going to check some mistakes in Peppa Pig together. In the first episode, we see several mistakes at the same time, not a mistake. Instead, it's a magic trick in the episode Mr. Potato's Christmas Show. All the students of Peppa's playgroup gather in a theatre to see Mr. Potato's live show. Notice that Peppa is sitting in the last row with some of her friends, and in the row in front of Peppa's, we can see a brown cat. Now pay close attention, because the mistake here is magical. Moments later, when Madame Gazelle says, "The show is about to start," the brown cat sitting in front of Peppa has now teleported all the way to the front row, and that's not all. Just as the show is about to start, Pedro Pony says he needs to go to the toilet now. Focus on these two characters sitting beside Freddy Fox as soon as Pedro passes by the aisle to go to the toilet. The two seats are now empty, but seconds ago they were occupied talking about the brown cat again. After Pedro goes to the toilet scene, zooms onto Peppa. But look who's sitting in front of her, the same cat that was sitting in the front row after Pedro returns from the toilet. The scene zooms out again, and of course the cat magically goes back to sit in the front row. Serious, what kind of trickery is going on here? In the episode, dressing up, Peppa and George find the old clothes of Mommy and Daddy Pig, so they decide to wear the dress and pretend to be their parents. Later in the episode, we can notice that Peppa and George's clothes are all muddy, and also Peppa is wearing lipstick. But the mistake is right. When Peppa Pig takes off her dress, we can notice that the lipstick also disappears. I don't think lipstick works like that. Now this next mistake is really shocking. In the episode, Lost Keys Peppa and her family go on a trip to a mountain scenic spot. But on the way down, Daddy Pig loses the car keys down the drain, and to get the keys out from the drain, they decide to buy a fishing rod so that they can hook the keys out. So Mrs. Rabbit sells them a fishing rod, and Daddy Pig throws the fishing line in the drain. Unfortunately, the fishing line isn't long enough to reach the keys. Now pay attention, because here comes the mistake. Mrs. Rabbit decides to throw a stone down the drain to check its depth. And as you can hear, when the stone reaches down the drain, it makes a splash sound, meaning there's water on the bottom. Later in the episode, Mr. Bull arrived on the scene with a crane, and he uses the crane to get the keys, but wait, look at the bottom. There's no trace of water. But earlier when Mrs. Rabbit threw a stone, we heard a splash sound, but in this scene, there's no water there. It's a weird error, isn't it? In the episode Daddy Pig's birthday here, we see the whole family involved in making the birthday cake for Daddy Pig, and we see various ingredients on the table like milk, eggs, and flour. Also, there's a wooden spoon on the table next to the chocolate pieces that will be used in the cake. Then Mummy Pig starts putting all the ingredients in a large bowl, and when the scene widens, note that the wooden spoon magically moved from where it was on the table to right next to Mummy Pig. It seems that besides making cakes, Mummy Pig also knows how to do magic. And it seems that George has also inherited the ability to do magic tricks from Mummy Pig, because right after this scene, Peppa asks to mix the cake batter, and George is by her side now. Look at George's hand. There's nothing in it, but in a split second, a second spoon appears in the little pig's hand. George seems to be following Mummy Pig's footsteps. In the episode, the eye test, Peppa goes to Daddy Pony's clinic to get her eye tested. Daddy Pony tests Peppa's eye to see if she needs glasses, but that's not the issue here. Look at the shelf behind Peppa. We can notice that there are lots of glasses placed on the shelf, and look at this glass right behind Peppa. As we can see, it is green in color, but in the next scene when Daddy Pony is testing Peppa's eye, we can see that the glass behind Peppa is purple colored. And not only that, but the shape of the frame has also changed too. Originally, the glass was green with circular frame, but here it is purple colored in square frame. It seems like animators forgot the original color and shape of the glasses. In the episode Goldie the Fish, the pig's family pet, Goldie the fish does not look happy and is not eating her food. So Peppa, George and Mummy Pig take her on a trip to visit Dr. Hamster, the vet. Dr. Hamster treats Goldie the fish, and the pig family goes back to their home. When they reach home, Daddy Pig comes home from work. Now here comes the mistake. Look at Daddy Pig's attire. He's wearing a white shirt with a tie in simple words. He's in his work clothes. But in the next scene when we see him, he's wearing his home clothes and there's no shirt or a tie. It seems like Daddy Pig can instantly change his clothes on the spot. In the episode, Horsey Twinkle Toes. Peppa and George are excited because Mr. Zebra has delivered a package from Aunt Doy, who lives abroad when they bring in the package to the kitchen. We can notice that behind them is a cabinet which is relatively small, and also beside the cabinet there's a recycling bin. So far so good. But the mistake is when Peppa is taking out the horse toy to play, we can notice that the cabinet behind her all of a sudden is longer than before. And not just that, the recycling bin that was beside the cabinet is now replaced by recycling boxes. In the episode The Beach, the Pig family goes to the beach for a fun day. When they arrive at the beach, Peppa starts taking out the toys from the basket. Notice that she takes out towels, buckets, spades and the ball. But the mistake is after Mummy Pig applies sunscreen to Peppa and George, if we look behind them we can notice the bucket and the spades are now back in the basket, but earlier we clearly saw Peppa taking out the toys. Now this next mistake can be found in the episode Bouncy Ball. Here Peppa and her friends are playing football, and also we can notice 4 trees with fruits on them. Now look closely, because seconds later all the fruits from the trees disappear into thin air. But seconds later when Rebecca Rabbit scores a goal, the fruits can be seen again. Seriously, what's up with these fruits? I hope you enjoyed the video. We have left 2 options for you to watch. These were some of the mistakes in Peppa Pig. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.